It's time to update my NBA power rankings. You're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Welcome to the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. We are now in the middle of December, so let's go ahead and update my NBA power rankings. It's been 5 weeks. I hope to make more of these, but I've been very busy. But as soon as the NFL season is over, I will have more time for these, so I'll update them more often. We have a number of changes. You know, I made the last one after a week and a half of the NBA season. Things have changed since then. Let's get into the power rankings. They can be found down below, by the way. Number one, we have the Golden State Warriors. Now, it was close between them and the Cavaliers, but with the Warriors having won 12 straight games, I believe, last week. You know, they lost a couple since then, but, I mean, they're really starting to hit their stride, hit their momentum, and I think right now they are better than the Cavs, but if they face in the NBA Finals, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but right now, the Warriors, man, they're just playing dominant. When they're on, they're just blowing teams out by 50. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 2. They're very good. I mean, what can I say? They're the NBA champions last year. You do not love some of the things that have been coming out there lately in terms of, like, you know, some J.R. Smith drama and whatnot, but they're fine. So they're good. They're number 2 right now. That won't prove to be an issue in June. We move on to number 3, San Antonio Spurs. They stay the same, actually. They were number 3 last time. They stay there. They're playing very well right now, and you like how they match up against the Golden State Warriors if they were to face in the Western Conference, but they must make it there first. The LA Clippers will not be easy. We move on to the Houston Rockets at number 4. These guys have skyrocketed up. They have moved up 13 spots, the highest jump of any of these teams, and they started off a little rocky, but man, they've really hit their stride. They're now tied for 4th, I believe, in the, tied for 3rd, I'd even say, in the Western Conference. They're playing very well under James Harden, who's getting triple-doubles almost nightly. Not Russell Westbrook nightly, but, pretty good in his own right. James Harden's playing great. This team is playing great. I'm sure they won't sustain it, but for right now, they deserve this spot. They really do. LA Clippers, number 5. They fall this low only because I did not like at all how they played against the Golden State Warriors, and they're kind of the measuring stick. You also have some Blake Griffin rest and injuries and whatnot happening there, and they also lost like Brooklyn Nets and stuff. So to me, they deserve to go down a number of spots, but they'll probably climb back up a spot or 2. We move on to the Toronto Raptors at number 6. They stay the same. They haven't been playing great, but they're still the second best team in the Eastern Conference. They're still very good. Can they win an NBA championship? No, but they deserve the spot. Number 7, Memphis Grizzlies, who have really started to hit their stride. I remember a lot of people after their first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks were saying, uh-oh, they're in trouble. But then, back comes Marc Gasol and they're good, right? So I had the Grizzlies as the 4th seed heading into the season. I feel very good about that right now. That's where they're going to be. They're very good. Right now they need Chandler Parsons to come back healthy and actually do something. But if he does, they're going to be the 4th seed in the West, and they're going to be very formidable. They could really even challenge the Warriors a little bit in the second round, but ultimately probably lose. We move on to number 8, Oklahoma City Thunder. Russell Westbrook is now a triple-double machine, but they actually moved down 3 spots because when I ranked them back in November, they were, I believe, they were like 5-1 at the time, or just something very good. So I had to put them a little higher than they deserved at the time, but now they're right where they should be. Number 9, Utah Jazz, who are really finding their stride after Gordon Hayward has come back from injury. Number 10, New York Knicks, who are starting to find their stride, and really not because anyone's come back, just because I think now Melo and Kristaps are starting to work together well. They're now 14-10, 4 games over 500. This is a team that I question if they could even be 500. Now they're proving to be much more than that. Carmelo not having the best year, but Kristaps is having a damn good one. And when you have that combination, it's a pretty good one. Their bench stinks, right? I know why people keep talking about Brandon Jennings. This guy sucks. Why do we keep talking about this guy? And it's awful efficiency. But right now, they're playing well. You got to give them respect. Number 11, Charlotte Hornets. They fall down a number of spots, but they're exactly where we all thought they would be. Some people didn't think they'd make the playoffs, but of course they will. We have the Chicago Bulls at number 12. Number 13, Boston Celtics. Haven't been quite as good as we thought. Perhaps when they get their chemistry better with Al Horford, and maybe if Jaylen Brown develops, they will be better. But for right now, they're only 13. Number 14, Detroit Pistons. They are doing fine, but I did not love the loss yesterday to the Philadelphia 76ers. They can just come out and have absolute clunkers. They haven't improved. Now Stanley Johnson's being set to the D-League. So there are some issues there with this basketball team. They should still make the playoffs, but this Eastern Conference race is going to be very tough for about 10 teams you're looking at that are in real contention there, 6 of which we know will get in, and then the bottom 4 is very tough. I think that consists of probably the Pistons, the Pacers, the Bucks, and the Hawks, and maybe the Wizards if they can get themselves back in the conversation. But those 4 teams are jostling for 2 spots, and maybe the Knicks if they fall down, but it appears as if they're good right now. So maybe those 5 teams jostling for 3 spots, and we'll see who ends up on top. We move on to the Portland Trail Blazers at number 15. They've been struggling. They're doing okay now. They were out of the playoffs, in terms of the playoff picture. Now they're back in it, and I'm sure they're going to finish there. But 8th seed, that's disappointing for this basketball team. 16, Indiana Pacers. They've been very disappointing, and they stay the exact same as last time. I had them 16 last time. They're still disappointing. A month later, not nearly as good as I thought they'd be. Remember, last year they were actually around this range. I want to say they went 40-42. I want to say they went, and they haven't improved. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. Getting Paul George back, getting him, really getting the progression of Miles Turner, adding, what's that guy, Jeff Teague, I was thinking about his name, Jeff Teague, adding him to the fray, and they're not improving, adding Al Jefferson, and they're not improving. Doesn't make much sense to me at all. They made a mistake firing Frank Vogel, I'd say, and hiring Nate McMillan. We move on for now. I mean, we'll see. Maybe they prove to be very good, but you have to say, I think Frank Vogel would do better with this basketball team. They'd be a defensive basketball team. We move on to the Milwaukee Bucks, who moved down a couple spots, but they're doing just fine. They're actually doing better than I thought they would this season. I thought they'd really struggle. I think I only had them slotted for 29 wins. They're going to get more than that, but I still think they're going to miss out on the playoffs. I just don't love that you only have Giannis, Jabari Parker, and then occasionally, if Greg Monroe decides to do something, which he doesn't, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the Matthew Dellavedova is not a good point guard. There are issues with this basketball team, and you're still missing Chris Middleton. If Chris Middleton was here, okay, you'd be a playoff team, but he's not, right? So, to me, you're still under that 16 mark. We look at 18 Atlanta Hawks, who have pretty much fallen off of a cliff lately. I don't know what's happened with this basketball team. There was a time where you said, uh-oh, the Hawks are back. Remember a couple years ago, they won like 60 whatever games. They were first seed in the Eastern Conference. You're like, wow, man, this Hawks team is very good. I was starting to get shades of that again. Mike Budenholzer coaching this team up well, but Dwight Howard's been inconsistent lately. Dennis Schroeder, same, and they're starting to fall down. They've lost all the chemistry they had early, and they need to find it back. I think they will and ultimately make the playoffs, but I'm not as convinced as I was, let's say, a month ago, or even 2 weeks ago. We move on to the Washington Wizards, who move up a number of spots. They were ranked 27th last time after a horrible start. Now they're starting to get something going. Bradley Beal has returned from injury. He's been playing pretty freaking well. Otto Porter's gone down because of it, but he's still a pretty good starter. And John Wall is yet again playing very well. So this Washington Wizards team is starting to hit their stride a little bit. Will they be able to catch up and make the playoffs? We'll see as the season progresses. You still don't love their front court, their power forward, their center, Marcin Gortat, and the other clown. I can't remember his name, but for right now, they're doing fine, and they deserve this 19 spot. 20, Orlando Magic, who are doing, I guess, fine, but at least I never thought they could make the playoffs, and they're proving that, Serge Ibaka is doing actually better than he was last month, but you're still looking at just guys that just aren't very good. They're fine, but they're not very good, right? They're Elfrid Payton, they're Nikola Vucevic, they're Serge Ibaka, Aaron Gordon. They're fine, but they're not very good, and you need very good players to make the playoffs, and that's the difference there for the Orlando Magic. They don't have a superstar, and I don't know where one is going to come from. This Mario Hezonja, he ain't going to be that. Right, so where are you going to find your superstar? You need a very good player. You don't have one. 21, my favorite team. the Los Angeles Lakers, who have fallen 7 spots. They used to be in that playoff picture. Now they're quickly falling out of it, have now lost 6 straight games, and I'm concerned, but I'm not surprised. You know, injuries have caught up to this basketball team. D'Angelo Russell and Nick Young have been out for a while, and you see now how valuable they were to this basketball team. And Brandon Ingram, his struggles are also hurting this basketball team. And I have faith, though, that he will figure it out. You know, we always like to look back at these, we should look back at these rookie seasons of these players that really progressed quietly but very well. I think he's following a similar progression as a Jimmy Butler, as a DeMar DeRozan, as players that really struggled shooting early, but once they got more years under them, ended up being very good. I think that's what we're looking here at Brandon Ingram. So don't be concerned yet. But this LA team is struggling. We need to get more out of Julius Randle. He needs to step up when these guys are injured, and he hasn't really been doing that. Like, he needs to be, honestly, when these players are injured, like D'Angelo Russell and Nick Young, he needs to be averaging 20 and 10. He needs to. That's what we need for him to be doing. He hasn't been doing that, and we've been losing games. It's unfortunate, but we're back to where we thought we'd be, probably a 35 to 40 win team at best, and that's where we deserve to be. We look at the next team, the Denver Nuggets, who are doing all right. They're not doing better than we thought they would. They're not doing worse than we thought they would. They're exactly where we thought they would be. Emmanuel Mudiay needs to play better, though. If they want to move on, if they want to progress, he needs to play better. And Jamal Murray, he's actually developing nicely. So I think you just sit back and wait, because he's doing fine. But Mudiay, he needs to play better, needs to be more consistent. I mean, he has absolute clunkers where he can go 0 for 12. I mean, this guy needs to be more consistent. He hasn't been that. And until he is that, this Nuggets team will not be in the playoff picture. When you move on to the Sacramento Kings, they stay the exact same. They're exactly who we thought they were. I mean, they're there. Maybe they're going to win 33% of their games, and then they're going to move on. And we're going to move on, right? I mean, that's who they are. You know, Cousins can put up the biggest numbers in the world, but they ultimately do not have depth. They ultimately do not have talent, and they're ultimately not good. We move on to the New Orleans Pelicans, who have risen up a little bit. Drew Holiday is back, and, you know, they won some games, but they're still not going to make the playoffs. You know, they need a lot of help. Buddy Hield needs to develop. He's been, honestly, just pretty terrible in his transition to the NBA. Surprising to me. This is a guy that's 22, 23 years old, and he's struggling like this. I can understand a Brandon Ingram who's 19 years old and who's skinny as a rail. But I don't understand why Buddy Hield is struggling. This is a guy that his shot should translate anywhere, but it gives me little pause in the future when I'm going to start evaluating a lot of these shooters in the future. But anyway, they need to develop. They need to get more out of him. They also need Tyreke Evans to come back, and hopefully he will soon. We move on to the Phoenix Suns, who are, you know, exactly where I thought they'd be. You know, a lot of people thought they'd take a step forward. I wasn't buying that. You know, Devin Booker, while we love his shot, he has a very fluid shot. While we love looking at his highlights and looking at these 33-point performances or what have you, you know, he's not that efficient of a player. He's not that productive as a player. These shooters that just shoot the ball, they don't get assists, they don't get rebounds, they don't play much defense. You'll be surprised how inefficient they are and how little they actually give you wins, right? Because you can actually get shots almost anywhere, unless if you're just off with shooting the ball everywhere, like maybe, I don't know, the Dallas Mavericks, how they are right now. But you can get shots, right? Devin Booker, all he is he's just taking shots away from, you know, your TJ Warren, your Eric Bledsoe, your Brandon Knight. If you take Devin Booker off of this team, I'm not sure they lose any more games than they have right now. I'm not sure they're worse at all. I think all he does is he just takes away shots from other people. The only thing that adds value here, the only thing valuable is if he's shooting better than they would on their own, and that is slightly true. So maybe he adds a win or two, but with them having like 7 wins, that's not very good, right? So that's the problem for me with Devin Booker. But anyway, this Suns team, that's why you got to get assists, got to get rebounds, got to do more than just shoot the ball, because you can get shots. You know, you're just adding a little more value, but not enough value. That's why they're not good. Anyway, and same goes for the Timberwolves. Yeah, so the Suns are exactly what we thought they'd be. And by the way, their coach, Earl Watson, is just terrible. Now we move on to the Timberwolves. They have a similar issue. Andrew Wiggins is like this. A lot of points, but not much assists, not much rebounds. It doesn't add much value. Same goes with Zach LaVine. They have a lot of these players that add a lot of points, right? But in points and shots and whatever, but you can get those. I'm telling you, you can get those. There's no reason on this planet, honestly, on this planet, why the Timberwolves are worse than the Pelicans, why they're worse than the Kings, why they're worse than the Nuggets, why they're worse than the Magic, why they're worse than the Wizards, honestly. There should be no reason why they're worse than the Lakers. They have the talent, but they just, to me, they don't do enough in terms of just shooting the ball. They're very excited. Wiggins and LaVine, they love shooting the ball. They can't wait to go down offensively and shoot the ball and dunk the ball and whatever. Play defense, get some rebounds, get some assists, get some extra plays, give some extra effort, and your team will improve. I mean, those are the players that really help your team. This Timberwolves team, they're struggling. They need to figure it out. They're young, right? It's going to take years, though. In the NBA, it takes years for young guys to learn how to win. We move on to the Miami Heat. They're now back where I thought they'd be. They had an early start where I said, okay, maybe they're better, but now they're back to where I thought they'd be, one of the worst teams in the NBA. And what more do you want me to say? We move on to the Brooklyn Nets. They're falling down as well. They're back to where I thought they'd be, but unfortunately for them, they don't even have a draft pick. The Boston Celtics will be the recipient of their draft pick. Philadelphia 76ers actually turn up at 29. They've moved up one spot, and you know, for them, at least you like seeing Joel Embiid play well. I mean, he is playing well. If you win a game, he's the reason. Honestly, he is. But you still have just no talent. Just none. Zero, zilch, nada. I couldn't believe when Vegas came out and had a 27.5 over-under win total for this basketball team. I took the under so quick, you couldn't believe it. And I have my house on it. And guess what? I'm about to win another house, right? Because there was no way in hell of that ever happening. Even when Ben Simmons comes back, they'll be lucky to win 20 games. So with that said, number 30, the Dallas Mavericks, and I mean, they're struggling. The one thing that I love about this, I love it. I absolutely love it. Harrison Barnes is playing really, really well. I didn't foresee this at all. And you like knowing that this is a guy that came from a championship team. And by the way, look at the Warriors now. How good was that team last year and the year before that? They have guys like Harrison Barnes who are leaving your team. You know you're good when guys that are on your team and leave and go be the best players for other teams. That's how you know how good you are. They have guys like Harrison Barnes leaving doing well. Andrew Bogut when he's healthy. Maurice Spates is being a damn good player for the Clippers right now, off of the bench, but still. You have Leandro Barbosa, who's even being a damn good bench. This guy couldn't even play. Now he's a damn good bench player for the Phoenix Suns. Man, that Warriors team was so good. But anyway, this Mavericks team, you're going to lose a lot of games this year. Hopefully you secure a top draft pick. You can take a Markelle Fultz. You can take a Dennis Smith. You can take Alonzo Ball. You pair him with Harrison Barnes. That's something. You know, and Harrison Barnes is a player that has proven he can win. He can be an interesting part on a championship team. So you have a championship part, but that's the problem. You only have one. Go get another one in the draft, and that's what you should be looking forward to. Tank. Dear God, tank. And oh my God, Darren Williams, please put on a headband again. So there you go. Those are my NBA power rankings for December 12th, 2016. What are your thoughts on these power rankings? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out.